Ferran Torres scored the winner in the World Cup final, and suddenly he doesn't know how to act.
What do Barca need to do to keep me? They have to show me they want me.
I have contract at Barcelona, but in football you never know. I'm just waiting to make the right decision.
And talk to the club. Why do you want to go public?
This guy's been on a generational press tour run.
Why is this guy here? Why are they having this guy on?
I've seen him throwing out the pitch at the Yankees game, going on CNN, some other morning show.
And he's talking about his future at Barcelona, and he's talking about his experience with Spain, and wait a minute. What is he trying to do? What kind of message is he trying to send? Why is he doing this media circus?
He's literally showing up to shows that don't even discuss football. He's there grinning, speaking English, making jokes.
So now he's living the best time of his life, of course. After scoring that goal, he's at his best momentum. He feels important, and he decided to do this round of interviews on international TV. This is something the club were not aware. They didn't like that much. They are not feeling very comfortable.
As if that World Cup final goal just erases everything from people's memory.
Because going into that World Cup final, had Spain not won the World Cup, one of the reasons that you may have looked at as to why they did not win the World Cup was because, man, they just didn't have a striker that could put the ball in the back of the net consistently. And that would have been Ferran Torres.
Clearly his PR team was behind this as a way of getting him to spread his message and essentially tell everybody on every single platform that he thinks he's not appreciated enough at Barca.
Of course you love Barcelona and obviously you have the contract with them. What do they need to do to keep you?
Bueno, mostrar que me quieren.
The hidden message being that he thinks he's too good for Barca.
Frank, do you understand this from Ferran Torres' view, in a sense that his stock is never going to be higher, so why not try and negotiate another big deal and use PSG as a pawn?
It's annoying for me to see that because it says a lot about the mentality of the player. It's all about money. That's why I think.
Now, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes between him and the club, but I have no idea where this ego is coming from. I can't tell if it's because of the PSG interest.
Are you open to changing? PSG, maybe?
You never know, because in football everything can change in 1 minute, so I have to be ready for everything.
Or if he really does think that he single-handedly won Spain the World Cup or something.
If your position about Ferran Torres was whatever that may have been going into the World Cup, I don't think that his performances in the World Cup would have changed that.
Because I could understand maybe casual fans thinking that Ferran Torres is this amazing player. Think if you're an American fan and you only watched one game in the past 4 years and it was the World Cup final. You're going to think Ferran Torres is the GOAT. You're going to think he's better than Messi. But for people that have followed his career, they know what he's capable of. Everybody knows what kind of player Ferran Torres is.
Because Ferran Torres showed during the World Cup that where he might be able to score you one really crucial goal, he probably isn't a great scorer of goals based on the fact that he missed all of his chances in the previous 7 games.
And it's exactly the player that we saw play for Spain. A super sub, a guy who's a fantastic rotational option. Like, just because he scored the winner, that doesn't change the fact that De La Fuente used him as a super sub throughout the entire tournament.
He did not have a good World Cup up until he scored the game-winning goal.
So his assist for Mikel Merino to knock out Portugal, his goal against Argentina, they all came because he came off the bench.
Really for Ferran, he should be pretty happy with the position he's got, which is backup striker at Barca, backup striker for Spain, and on top of that, just scored the winning goal in a World Cup final.
And that's exactly where Barca were utilizing him. Now, this video isn't about whether you think Ferran Torres is a good player or not. It's about the delusional statement from him that Barca don't value him, which couldn't be further from the truth. There's actually a lyric from Drake's song Tuscan Leather that really applies to this situation. And he says, "Bench players talking like starters, I hate it." And oh my goodness, that lyric could not be more applicable than what we're seeing from Ferran Torres.
He feels the World Cup has made him the most the hottest property around, which he's not. He's a good player.
You are not the guy. You're not capable of being the guy.
First of all, the hate and criticism around Ferran Torres never came from the club itself. We've seen Barca try and push out players before. We've seen them create headlines to put negative media attention around them to get the leverage in contract negotiations. Pretty much what happened with Frankie de Jong. But they never did that with Ferran Torres. The criticism around Ferran Torres came from fans online, maybe some fans in the stadium who were booing, and Spanish media. The club, Barca itself, his teammates, the manager, nobody ever disrespected him. In fact, it's been the complete opposite throughout his entire Barcelona career.
Well, with Ferran, I've got a very good friendship. I think he brings a lot to the team, especially in front of the goal.
I had the chance to talk with some sources at Barcelona, and they say that the position is the same. Barcelona wants to renew Ferran Torres. They expect him to be back after his holidays, the 12th of August.
Barca put a lot of faith in him before he had even kicked the ball. Because think about it, they spent 55 million euros on him during a time where Barcelona were in their worst financial situation ever. Like, these guys were brokies, had a little bit of money to spend, and they spent it on Ferran Torres. So how was he underappreciated? We're talking about registration problems, financial restrictions, limited money, yet these guys still chose Ferran Torres. So clearly they didn't think he was just some squad player. They saw him as somebody that they could get value out of, that they could use. Then you have the fact that he had immediate trust as soon as he joined. He was put into the starting 11 straight away. In fact, I think a lot of people have forgotten he got a brace in his first El Clasico against Real Madrid. Barca won that game 4-0 at the Bernabeu. An excellent performance from the Shark. At that point, everyone believed that Barca had signed a real superstar, because when he was coming out of Manchester City, he was still young, and a lot of people thought that he had really good potential. Like, the jokes about him being the next David Villa were not jokes at that point.
Talk to us about Ferran Torres and his contribution this evening.
Not this evening, not just this. Of course, this evening was so important, but not just this evening. It's his first season in England, and his numbers are exceptional in terms of goals. Exceptional.
Xavi had a lot of faith in him from the get-go. The reason that Ferran Torres had a drop in form, he had his fall off, the collapse, to which he himself called it the bottomless pit, was because he started performing worse. So what happened is, in the first season when he was bought, he was pretty much Barca's only star signing and attacking outlet. It was like him, Aubameyang, and Braithwaite. So the next season, that's when Barca pulled the levers and they brought in Lewandowski and Rafinha, and of course they had Dembele from the season before as well. So now there were better players ahead of Ferran. So new competition arrived, and then Ferran Torres stopped performing. Like, that's the main thing. Nobody ever stopped giving him opportunities. Xavi still played him, still rotated him with the guys that I mentioned earlier. But when he was given those opportunities, he did not play well enough to justify taking over the starting spot from an Ousmane Dembele, from a Robert Lewandowski. Because remember, Lewandowski, that was his first season at Barca, and he won the Pichichi. So Ferran wasn't playing well, he was missing chances, his goals dried up like my balls, he was making bench appearances, and this is where the fans became impatient, because he would get opportunities, and then he would miss in front of goal. So again, it wasn't the club disrespecting him. Xavi still gave him opportunities, put him on the pitch.
Ara fèiem una comparació al vestidor, que també al Luis Suárez li va passar, no? Recordo que els primers mesos doncs, semblava que no tenia gol. I el Barça és diferent, per això dic sempre que la samarreta del Barça pesa uns quilets més.
It was mainly fans and the media that were getting impatient with how unreliable this guy was in front of goal. This became the darkest period of his Barcelona career, and I mean, we have to give a lot of respect to him for coming out of that position, because depression is a very tough thing, and for him to bounce back from that, regardless of how you feel about him and his comments, we have to give a lot of credit to somebody's mental powers there. It's so easy to keep yourself in that depressive state and not come out of it. But he fought his way back, and more importantly, the club helped him.
I'm the kind of person that I believe that mental health cares, and you know, sometimes you don't talk about this because it's like you care about what the people thinks about if you are good or not. But I think now the young people just only have to talk about how they feel and how they want to be, and yeah, I think it's more important than we believe.
At no point during this bad run of form did Barcelona get rid of him or try to get rid of him. And again, this goes back to his disrespect comments. There's two scenarios. Either Ferran Torres had no interest from outside clubs because he was playing so badly, or clubs reached out and Barca didn't sell him. Regardless of which scenario is true, both scenarios back up the fact that Barca had a lot of faith in him and kept supporting him. Because if no club wanted him, then you have to give appreciation to Barca for sticking with him and not trying to get rid of him or selling him for a loss. Then if it's the second situation where clubs were interested but Barca didn't sell, again, that shows how much Barca valued him. That even during his bad run of form, even when he was ass, they're like, no, we see the value you bring, we're gonna keep you. Like, the guy reached 100 appearances. You don't reach 100 appearances if you're bad. not at Barca. Then what happens is Flick comes in and Ferran Torres has this massive comeback. He gets a hat-trick against Real Betis. He was amazing against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. I should probably put amazing in quotations because he ended up scoring important goals, but he could have had so much more, which has basically been the story of Ferran Torres' career. The only reason that Ferran even had interest from PSG was because of Hansi Flick.
I don't think there's any doubt. Since Hansi Flick went there, Ferran Torres is an improved player.
He completely rejuvenated Ferran's career, changed the perception around him. Because before, he was basically seen as Spanish Darwin Nunez, a guy that can get in the right positions, but is always failing in front of goal. Now, I'm not going to say that reputation has completely disappeared, because frankly, every season he continues to miss big chances. But now, he was seen as a reliable option, at least off the bench, a good rotational option. Flick didn't try forcing Ferran into becoming Rafinha or even Lewandowski. He identified his strengths, made him the perfect impact substitute, and he ended up helping Barcelona win the Copa del Rey. Some people might argue that just his goal against Real Madrid in that final justified his fee, and yet he still has the audacity to say that the club didn't appreciate him. Does he understand that if he was the main guy on a team, it would never be a club as big as Barcelona? He's not good enough to be the main number 9 or the face of a club that has massive ambitions. If he wants to be the main guy, he can go and do what Gonzalo Garcia did. Join a mid-table Premier League club, collect some nice wages, and boom, you're their star guy. Now Gonzalo Garcia is going to be the main striker for Fulham instead of sitting on the bench behind Mbappe and Endrick and whoever Real Madrid want to play up front. Ferran Torres can do that, but I don't understand why he's not realistic about his expectations. Even at PSG, there's going to be other players ahead of him.
If he goes to PSG and if they keep the bulk of their forward line, he's just going to be another squad player, which he's not now at Barcelona, particularly not with Robert Lewandowski gone unless they go and sign somebody. So sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side.
The guy went through some of the worst run of form I've ever seen from an individual player. Barca still put faith in him. His teammates still put faith in him. They still created chances for him, supported him. I mean, go and look at the celebration around him when he scored in that Copa del Rey. That's a player who was loved by everybody. That's a player who his teammates felt the burden on his shoulders. They gave him a massive hug. They celebrated the goal like they had won the trophy right there and then. So again, it just goes back to where does he feel the underappreciation? Just because he's not starting, that means he's not appreciated? This is a massive club and he's played a vital role in the titles that Barca have won in the past 2 seasons under Hansi Flick. If you guys remember in that Atletico Madrid semi-final, as I stated earlier, Flick started Ferran instead of Lewandowski. It was a decision that shocked a lot of people. It was a huge risk, but Flick wanted Ferran's athleticism and he rewarded him with the winning goal. So again, where was the disrespect? Here's a manager trusting you despite your history and track record of not being clinical at all. Even if you look at the celebrations around him when he scored against Dortmund, you got Flick punching the air, the bench jumping on top of him. This is a guy who was loved by his teammates. Yes, he was disrespected by people like me and you guys in the comments. Sure, we make fun of him. Like the chance he missed against Chelsea. I mean, that was just disgraceful for a player that wants to be the main guy.
Ferran Torres as a player hasn't changed just because he just scored this goal. There are certain things that I like about Ferran Torres and there are other things that he comes up short. And somewhere in the middle is the truth about who this player is, and I think Barcelona are trying to get there. Ferran Torres is going to have to meet him in the middle.
But his own teammates, the manager, the club, they never disrespected him. The club at no point showed that they didn't have faith in him. So that's why it's difficult to see him go on this press tour and essentially act like he's above Barcelona. This club saved his career. They gave him chance after chance despite his inconsistent form. They started him in big Champions League games, Copa del Rey finals, La Liga matches, even when he couldn't hit the side of a barn door.
And so his performance in the World Cup would not change my position if I were a club, and in this case, Barcelona are thinking, okay, let's go forward, whatever the negotiations are, but we're not going to be forced into something because you scored this one goal.
And again, to reiterate, this video was never about whether Ferran Torres is a good player or not. Most people understand the value that he brings. He does like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 things right. He's got a good work rate, he works hard, his positioning is excellent. But his inconsistent finishing and inconsistent football IQ and decision making in the attacking third will never allow him to become a superstar. And even the success that he saw at the World Cup with Spain came from him being used where he should be used, as the star player off the bench, as a very good rotational option. Anything more than that, it's not really in his skill set, at least not at an elite club where you're competing for trophies.
I think he's making the most of his moment. He's never going to get an opportunity like this again, to have this level of public profile, especially in the United States.
I've never been somebody that's advocated for Ferran Torres being sold because, again, I saw the value that he brings, but these comments from him, this press tour he's done, it's complete delusion. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will love this one too. Check it out right here.